Hello everyone. You're about to hear a synopsis of the film Death Warrant. Enjoy. A Canadian cop comes to Los Angeles to take revenge on a serial killer for killing his partner. In the process, he knocks out two local thugs. Burke is asked to wait for backup, but he ignores them and enters the abandoned building himself. A woman's body lies in one of the rooms. The walls are splattered with blood. Burke was cautious. However, the killer managed to ambush the cop and wound him with a knife. Sandman was sure he couldn't be killed, so he fearlessly walked straight at Burke. However, 6 bullets fired at him proved otherwise. 16 months have passed since that day. The detective is wanted for a new investigation. Mysterious murders of inmates are occurring in the prison. 9 people in the last 2 months. The Canadian is going to be sent to jail disguised as an inmate. Amanda will be his contact. She'll play Burke's wife. What do you think, detective? I'll think about it. Amanda's new, so Burke isn't sure he can rely on her. Nevertheless, the detective decided to take on this difficult case. A busload of new inmates pulled up to the prison. The thugs started throwing themselves at it like monkeys. Chief of Security DeGraff came over to meet the new batch. The kind guy told them they could be beaten, robbed, and even raped here. One of the inmates was personally hit with a baton by the sergeant. Apparently, all of the above, the guards can do to them too. I'm Dr. Gottsman. Do you have any contagious diseases? Answer: not yet. The doctor was intrigued by the information that Burke had a rare blood type. He immediately made a note of it. The guy at the front desk said his eye was dead. It had been gouged out. Burke was escorted to his cell. His cellmate wasn't happy with the new roommate and demanded $500 for the right to sleep on a bunk. I have no money. Okay. Then love. That? Burke was asked to get on all fours, and when he refused, Konevka held a knife to his throat. The cop quickly put the guy in his place, and he immediately started making excuses, saying it was just a test. There was a Mexican bandito in the diner for the one-eyed guy. Burke stood up for the old man, got punched in the face, and responded by roundhouse kicking the Mexican. DeGraff arrived. He immediately understood who was to blame. Hawkins, I know. The black guy is always to blame, and you won't last long here. Is that a threat? It's a promise. The offended gangster promised the new guy that he would soon take him down. Burke wanted to have lunch with Hawkins, but Hawkins kicked him off the black table.
Hey, Fish?
Sit with us, Fish. Burke met some nice white guys. Keel and I killed regularly. See, these are the names of his victims. Before bed, a neighbor treated Burke to some of his fiery brashka. He became much more accommodating after meeting her. The detective began questioning the man about the murders, but Konevka prefers to see and hear nothing. Life is more peaceful that way. Burke's wife Amanda came to visit. She reported that all the victims had stab wounds to the back of the head. Could this be the work of a serial killer? Or some kind of ritualistic murders? Burke asked for cash. He wouldn't be able to get by here any other way. No, I'm telling you right now, I won't pay. Anyway, Burke was thrown in jail, but no one is particularly willing to help him. Amanda is having lunch with Attorney General Tom Vogler and his wife, who had recently been released from the hospital. While Burke was cleaning the laundry, banditos walked in and called him a slob. He didn't come alone, but with his Asian friend Bruce. The gangster miscalculated. 2 people are like peanuts to our hero. Even his chain didn't help Bruce. Burke finished off the Asian with his signature roundhouse kicks. Amanda still managed to slip the cop some money inside one of the books. Burke arrived at the black cell block. Everyone looked at him with, to put it mildly, disapproval. The cop wanted to talk to Hawkins. He'd been here for over 10 years, so he should know about the murders. Incidentally, the guy was busy making pellets for a blowgun. Hawkins didn't answer any questions, but suggested talking to the pastor, a creepy dude who lived on the floor reserved for the weirdest scumbags. There, Burke was met by a whole crowd of transvestites. Apparently, the pastor had taken all the ladies to his floor. You want a lady? No. He thinks I'm not worthy of him. Burke pulled out $100. The pastor decided he needed hormone pills, like his girlfriend's. However, the cop wanted to know about the latest victim. The pastor directed Burke to Myers, the victim's former cellmate. The next day, the cop went to clean the infirmary. One of the medical waste containers fell to the floor. There seemed to be a lot of medical waste here. Burke found Meyerson and started questioning him. When he didn't get answers, Burke threatened to give Meyerson urine, forcing him to confess that the guards were involved in the murders. The detective quickly reported this to Amanda. Now he needed to get to the personnel files of all the victims. The black guys would help him with that too. Burke was hidden in a cart with dirty clothes. While Hawkins treated the guard to some brash, the detective snuck into the office. Unfortunately, the metal box containing the files creaked loudly, attracting the guard's attention, so Burke had to hide from him under the ceiling. The detective discovered that all the victims were newcomers to the criminal world, not drug addicts or murderers. Their files were marked with some kind of code, and Burke advised Amanda to contact a hacker friend who could help decipher it. SL could mean anything, or nothing at all. Do you have a friend? The young nerd dug something up and offered Amanda a hot night together, but for some reason she declined. Meyerson's tongue was starting to loosen. Another poor guy was killed yesterday, but he'll only talk about the murders once he gets protection. The pastor's girlfriend warned Burke that he was having guests today. Thanks. It would be a shame if such a man died. The concerned nerd managed to crack the file. It contained the personal identification numbers of the murdered prisoners and their blood types. Their health had been thoroughly checked. No infections or illegal substances in their blood.
Burke. Something else. Your number is next on the list.
Unknown people actually broke into Burke's cell last night, and this handsome guy hid under the bed and didn't tell his neighbor anything. In the end, Konevka was strangled, and Burke himself was accused of the murder and thrown in solitary confinement. DeGraff gave the new guy a good beating. You killed Konevka. I didn't. I know. After that, some white thugs with shivs came to see the black lady. Now he'll pay for his big mouth. They didn't ignore Meyerson either. The frightened man saw a canister of fuel and hurried to put out his cigarette. They decided to deal with him especially brutally. They sprayed him with fuel from head to toe, then doused the entire cell and threw a match. Burning alive, the poor guy screamed at the top of his lungs. The guards decided to harass Amanda too when she came to see her husband. First, they groped her. Unclear. Excuse me, miss, you'll have to undress. Amanda had to comply to meet Burke. He was kept naked in solitary confinement the entire time. The detective is now 100% certain that the guards are involved in the murders. He apparently forgot that his wife was a fake, so he decided to use the half hour he was given as intended. The black men continue to help Burke. They cut the lock on the refrigerator, which was filled with medical waste. One of the containers actually contained a human heart. Today, a special prisoner was brought into the prison, the same Sandman. Apparently, he really is immortal. The guards beat Burke and chained him in the shower. A maniac came in here for fun. He took out a knife and made several cuts. But he doesn't plan to kill his enemy. Instead, he will tell all the prisoners that Burke is a cop. Then his life will turn into hell. On the way back to his cell, the detective heard curses and threats directed at him. Now dozens of thugs are out to get him. Hawkins also took offense at his white comrade. Help me. Too late. Hawkins. After learning what happened, Amanda went to the prosecutor. Burke needed to be sprung from prison immediately. Unfortunately, she learned too late from a hacker that the list of death row inmates had been compiled by an old acquaintance of hers. The thing is, the prosecutor's wife needed a new liver, and the transplant waiting list was too long. So he came up with the idea of getting the necessary organ from one of the criminals. It turned out to be so simple that Vogler decided to make a business out of selling organs. The girl was saved from death by the entrance of Vogler's wife. Tell her, Tom, how do you kill for her? Helen. One of the guards approached Burke's cell and was electrocuted. The cop had set a trap for him. He picked up the keys and ran away. The guard had previously released Sandman, who shared the loot with the other prisoners. The thug opened all the cells, and a major riot broke out. The enraged prisoners chased Burke, who was immediately captured by the guards. Also present was a surgeon who dissected the victims and a convict killer who did the guards' dirty work. De Graaf was about to shoot Burke, but his black friends came to his rescue. The cop gave everyone a beating and hid with his buddies in a closet. Suddenly, another thug attacked them with a dumbbell. He got hit in the head with his own dumbbell. The three rushed down the corridor, hoping to escape the bloodthirsty crowd. They hid in the elevator, but the doctor wasn't so lucky. Damn, time to start the autopsy. Dog! When the elevator opened, a shootout broke out. Old Man Hawkins was wounded. He realized he would only be holding up his comrades, so he asked to be left behind. De Graaf found the old man and was about to blow his brains out. However, the pastor returned and knocked out the security chief. Burke would only be able to escape through the boiler room. The pastor was about to escort him out, but Sandman hacked him to death with an axe. Then the thug decided to play around with the cop. Okay, go ahead. The maniac picked up his impressive tool and began working on Burke. After flexing his arms, Baldy disappeared again. He hid around the corner while a stunned Burke ran up the stairs. Turning on the machine, the maniac planned to give the cop a little rhinoplasty, cutting off his nose. However, Burke resisted and trimmed the back of Sandman's head, earning him a few floors. The prisoners, by the way, weren't even thinking of running away. They wanted to gawk at the unexpected gladiatorial fight. The maniac unscrewed a light bulb, smashed it, and made a rose out of it. Having suffered several cuts, Burke turned to his main weapon, his legs, but was unable to overcome the thug. The loser had exposed himself when he opened the door to the cauldron. Burke knocked him unconscious with his signature kick. But, as we remember, Seaman is immortal. He leaped out of the flames and managed to completely extinguish the fire on himself. "But who are you jumping on?" Burke asked, kicking him again. The thug impaled himself on the metal rod. "You can't kill me, Burke. I'm Sandman." Burke scraped Sandman's brains, and he finally died. The cop had brought down the prison's biggest star, which earned him respect from the inmates. Silent beat him. "Make way. Good luck to you. Remember us." Firefighters, SWAT teams, and ambulance workers were already hard at work outside. Besides the cop, Old Man Hawkins also survived, but Amanda went from being Burke's fake wife to being his real girlfriend.